Welcome to the podcast on data visualization tools and techniques. The podcast is part of the data analytics series. In this podcast, we will explore various data cues that are essential for making data visualizations clear, effective, and aesthetically pleasing. The current podcast is created by Jitendra Tomar, an academician and experienced training consultant with a passion for knowledge sharing and skill development. With years of expertise in education, corporate training, and professional development, the intention is to bring insightful discussions and valuable perspectives to the learners. This podcast is designed at JT Design Studio, a creative hub committed to producing high-quality, engaging, educational content that resonates with learners and professionals alike. Data visualization and visual cues are used across industries for reporting, analytics, decision-making, and storytelling. Whether it's in marketing, finance, education, or sustainability, these tools bridge the gap between raw data and actionable insights. Visual cues are essential for making data visualizations clear, effective, and aesthetically pleasing. Listed are the various cues that helps in making data visualizations presentable and effective. Let's go through these one by one. The first cue is color. Color is a powerful tool for highlighting differences and emphasizing key elements in data visualization. It helps convey meaning through associations, such as red for danger and green for growth. Categorical color coding uses distinct colors for different categories, like blue for men and pink for women. Sequential color schemes use gradients to represent ordered data, such as temperature variations from cold to hot. Diverging color schemes are effective for showing deviations from a central point, like positive and negative financial performance. When selecting colors, it's important to use color-blind friendly palettes, for example, Color Universal Design or Color Brewer, to ensure accessibility and avoid confusion. Also, avoid overusing vibrant colors, as they can overwhelm viewer and distract them from the key insights. The second listed data cue is size. Size is an effective visual cue for representing the magnitude or intensity of data points. Larger sizes typically indicate higher values, while smaller sizes represent lower values. This can be seen in bubble charts, where larger bubbles correspond to larger values, or in the font size of labels, where bigger fonts draw attention to critical data points. It's important to make sure that size variations are noticeable but not excessive, as too much variation can be overwhelming. Additionally, scaling should be done carefully to avoid misleading interpretations, ensuring that size changes reflect proportional differences in data. The next data cue is shape. Shape is used to distinguish between categories or types of data points. In a scatter plot, different shapes such as circles, squares, or triangles can represent different groups. Arrows are often used to indicate directionality or trends, such as showing movement or flow in a dataset. When using shapes, it's best to stick with universally recognized symbols, for example, checkmarks for correct and crosses for incorrect, to avoid confusion. Additionally, keeping the shape simple helps ensure clarity and prevents the visualization from becoming too complex or difficult to interpret. The fourth listed cue is position. Position is one of the most intuitive visual cues for comparing data points. The position of an element along the X or Y axis reflects its value, making it easy to see trends and differences. For example, the height of bars in a bar chart represents the magnitude of a variable, while points along the y-axis in a line chart show the value of data at specific time intervals. The x-axis is often used to order data chronologically or categorically, enabling comparisons over time or across groups. Proper alignment and consistent scaling are essential to ensure that data is accurately represented and that comparisons are easy to make. The fifth in the line cue is lines and arrows. Lines and arrows are used to show relationships, trends, or directional movement in data. Trend lines in scatter plots help identify correlations between variables, while arrows in flowcharts or network diagrams represent directionality or progress, such as illustrating the flow of goods in a supply chain. To differentiate between actual data and projections, use dashed lines for projections and solid lines for actual values. It's important to limit the use of arrows to avoid visual clutter, ensuring that they are used only when necessary to enhance understanding. The next cue in the order of the list is text and labels. Text and labels provide crucial context to help viewer understand the data. Labels can identify specific data points, describe axes, or provide additional details through annotations. Labels also allow for highlighting key values, such as maximum, minimum, or outliers. It's important to keep labels concise to avoid clutter and maintain clarity. Choose legible fonts and appropriate sizes to ensure readability, especially in dense visualizations. Prioritize clarity and simplicity, ensuring that the text enhances the viewer's understanding without overwhelming the overall design. The seventh cue in the order is whitespace. Sometimes it is also called as negative space. Whitespace, or negative space, is crucial for reducing clutter and ensuring that the viewer's attention is focused on the most important elements of the visualization. By using margins and spacing between elements, whitespace can frame the data and make it easier to read and interpret. It also helps to separate groups of information, allowing each dataset to be understood individually without becoming visually crowded. Avoid filling up every corner of the visualization. Instead, use whitespace to guide the viewer's eyes through the data and improve the overall layout. The next cue mentioned in discussion list is contrast. Contrast is essential for drawing attention to important elements and ensuring the legibility of the visualization. By creating differences in color or intensity, contrast helps highlight key trends or data points. For example, bold or saturated colors can draw attention to significant changes, while lighter or muted colors can be used for less important data. Text contrast is especially important to ensure that labels are readable. So make sure that there's sufficient contrast between the text and background. However, avoid using too much contrast, as extremely high contrast can be jarring or hard on the eyes. A balanced approach ensures both visual appeal and clarity. Following the contrast, the next cue is patterns and textures. Patterns and textures are useful for distinguishing overlapping data points or categories, especially in visualizations with limited colors. For instance, in a bar chart or pie chart, using patterns such as stripes or dots can differentiate between multiple categories. In line charts, layering textures can help distinguish between overlapping data series. When using patterns, it's best to keep them simple to avoid visual confusion. Combining patterns with color can improve differentiation and ensure accessibility, especially for viewers with color vision deficiencies. On number 10, we have animation and motion. Animation and motion can bring a dynamic element to data visualizations by showing changes over time or demonstrating the relationships between data points. For example, animated transitions can highlight real-time updates, while time series visualizations can show trends over periods. Motion should be used sparingly, as excessive movement can distract from the data itself. Ensure that animations are smooth and purposeful, enhancing the viewer's understanding of the data rather than serving as a mere aesthetic effect. And the last in the list is alignment and grouping. Alignment and grouping help organize data in a way that is logical and easy to follow. Proper alignment ensures that elements are placed consistently, making comparisons straightforward. For example, bars in a bar chart should align with the same baseline, and data points in a line chart should be positioned consistently on the X and Y axes. Grouping related data visually, using techniques like borders or shading, helps the viewer understand relationships between data points. Avoid grouping unrelated data, as it can create confusion and disrupt the logical flow of the visualization. Proper alignment and grouping enhance both the aesthetic appeal and clarity of the data. Looking at the list again, we have covered the important data cues and have explored the way these are used. To summarize, effective use of visual cues ensures that data visualizations are not just attractive but also meaningful and accessible. By leveraging elements like color, size, shape, position, and contrast, designers can enhance clarity and emphasize key insights. The thoughtful integration of whitespace, text labels, and alignment further improves readability and ensures a seamless flow of information. Combining cues strategically helps in creating visuals that communicate the intended message clearly and resonate with the target audience. A well-designed visualization guides the viewer's attention, making complex data more digestible and actionable. When used effectively, visual cues reduce cognitive load, ensuring that the audience can interpret and engage with the data. This brings us to the end of this podcast on data visualization tools and techniques covering the intricacies of various data cues. The podcast is part of Data Analytics series. Always remember, learning is an art and is a lifelong scholastic activity. Hope to be with you in some other session, some other time. For more academic content on various subjects, remain connected.